Alright guys, let's get down to the ingredients that we're going to need for this recipe. Simple and easy, not going to take too long. So you're going to need some tomatoes. I'm going to be using these type of tomatoes. I like them, they're juicy, they're flavorful, and they're about this big in your hand, so I'm going to dice them down. You're going to need some garlic. If you've been cooking with me, you know I love garlic, so I'm going to use about 2 cloves of garlic. You're going to need some green onions. I use the whole thing of green onions except for like the regrowth part right here. So we're going to need 2 things of that. I'm going to use this type of feta cheese right here, which is really good. This one says tomato and basil, so it has a little more kick and flavor to it instead of the plain boring kind. And then I have angel hair noodles, or you can get thin pasta hair noodles. They're about the same. And we're going to need the star of the show is some shrimp. I washed them off and I deveined them and took the tail off. I only like the tail on them if I'm eating like cocktail shrimp, but that's not what we're going to use. And these are probably about medium. They're about medium. They're not too small, not too big. And then the seasonings we're going to need. I think you pronounce this Gaia adobo sauce. I love the one with the green when I'm cooking like seafood and stuff. You need some red chili pepper flakes, and you're going to need some salt and pepper. So first thing first, we're going to open up these noodles, and I have a boiling pot of water in the back, and I'm just going to get me a nice handful of noodles. Now, let me tell y'all something. I don't know a lot of people know, but I know. So this is a noodle strainer, and you see the little hole in there. A long time ago, I did not know what that hole was for. So the hole is actually to measure out your pasta. So like noodles and stuff, you put it in here and it gives you a serving of noodles. So let me show y'all. Now if you knew, okay, cool. If you didn't know, like, okay, cool, you know now. So I'm not a big noodle fan. I like to use zucchini and stuff like that, but since I'm cooking for somebody else, you know, why not? So you just put it in there and it gives you your measurement of noodles that you need, so you won't be overeating. Ain't that cool? Okay, so the ones on top, we just listen, this is harder than you think. Bam, we're gonna take them and we're gonna put them in our boiling water, and then we're gonna get to cooking and dicing everything else up. So isn't that cool? You get like a measurement of noodles. I learned that probably like 8 or 9 years ago. Didn't even know. Now I know. So all I'm going to do is go ahead and chop up my garlic, my green onions, and my tomatoes. And then we're going to move over to the stove top to cook our shrimp. So let's get cooking. To cooking our shrimp. Alright, so you see that my pasta is back here boiling. By the time we get done cooking this, the pasta should be done. I have it on approximately about high. And all I'm going to do is add a little bit of salt to our boiling water back here, so that the pasta noodles have flavor. Now in here I have a little bit of butter I melted. and I had it on low for the time being. And then all I'm going to do is add a little bit of grapeseed oil, or you can always add extra virgin olive oil. And y'all know these are the two types that I use when I'm cooking. Just a tablespoon. You don't need a lot. And make sure you go over your shrimp, you devein them, and you take off the tail. And all you're going to do is just lay them in here. You don't want to overcrowd your pan, so make sure you get a big enough pan. And you want to just lay them in there so they are not over topping each other or overlaying each other, and they're going to have a nice consistency cook. Now, shrimp doesn't take that long to cook, and the angel hair pasta noodles definitely don't take that long to cook because they're thin. So this is going to get finished all about the same time. And all you're going to do once you lay them in here, you're going to add your salt, your pepper, your red pepper flakes, your gallo or adobo seasoning, and you're going to give it a 1-2 toss on one side. You only need to season one side only, because if you over season, it's going to be salty. And then on top of that, the tomato, the garlic, and the green onion we're going to toss in when we toss in our noodles. So let's get to cooking. So the noodles are done boiling, so I cut them down, and our shrimp is cooking very nicely. You can tell that they're turning pink and they have got a little bit smaller, so you don't want to overcook them, because if you overcook shrimp, listen, they're going to be chewy. So this is about a good consistency of how we want these shrimps to cook out. So remember earlier we had diced up our garlic, our tomato, and green onions. We're going to set that aside. But before I put that in there, I added a little bit of accent salt. If you don't know, oops. If you don't know, this is what I'm talking about. I just sprinkled a little bit in there like so. And I did go a little bit more on the pepper because I like pepper. So to richen this up, I'm going to get some butter, unsalted butter, I'm sorry. And I am going to just add maybe a tablespoon in there. And I'm going to let that butter melt down into our shrimp. So that's going to give it a nice rich flavor. And then I'm going to go ahead and add these tomatoes, garlic, and green onions in here, so that can start cooking and stewing in our shrimp. So that's going to give it more flavor. I'm going to cut this down to a medium cook because we have been cooking this on like medium high. So I'm just going to cut it down to a medium cook. I wish you could smell this, that garlic in there, them tomatoes, that green onion. It smells very, very delicious. Okay, so we're going to let this cook just a little bit more on medium. And then I'm going to start draining my noodles over the sink. And then what's left over, I'm just going to take it out and I'm going to put it in our pot. But this is how your noodles should look. So they should look al dente. They shouldn't be like mushy or anything like that. So when your noodles is al dente, that means it's like cooked but not overcooked. That is when it's time to add it to our shrimp meal. So I'm just going to drain this out and I'll be right back to add it in there. So what I like to do when I have noodles, I like to just add a little bit more flavor to them. So I'm going to add a little bit more salt to it. And I just love me some pepper. So I'm just going to add a little more pepper. Okay. That's it. So this is cooking very well. And all I'm going to do is just go ahead and add my noodles over here into our pasta. So you don't want to break up this up the sauce or anything. So you just want to take your whatever this is called that you use for noodles to drain it and pick it up. You just want to mix it around so that the noodles is going to pick up that butter flavor and that garlic that we had cooking in here, and it's going to nicely mix together, and it's not going to mess up the sauce, or it's not going to mess up our pasta noodles. Guys, I wish I could smell this. It smells so delicious. Now this is a serving for one person, but I'm gonna break this down into 2 meals, okay? And all you want to do at this time is just cut it off. Your shrimp is done, your pasta is done, everything is done in here. You want to go ahead and get you a nice little fork. Get you a shrimp, get you a little bit of pasta, put it on your fork. Okay, never twirl noodles. All the noodles I picked up, and not one stayed on my fork. Okay, there we go. Listen, I'm just gonna wrap it around here because it's doing what it wants to do. Look at that, y'all. Look at that. Delicious. So let's go ahead and taste it. Good. Flavored it really well. So we don't have any problems with this meal. Simple, easy. Okay. So all I'm gonna do is just plate this. Plate it, okay? And this can be stored in the refrigerator if you don't finish it or if you have any leftovers. So don't worry about it. You don't have to like throw it in the trash or anything. Look at that. Okay. Put a couple more pieces of shrimp on there. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna make it even fancier for y'all. If I can find my seasonings. Well, we're gonna put some parsley on there. So it's not giving us any flavor. It's just gonna get it a nice look consistency. So look, don't go overboard with it, y'all. Voila. Look at that. Look what you have made for yourself or for someone else. This is nice and it tastes very delicious. Alright guys, until next Sunday, I will see you in another cooking lesson. Hopefully you like, subscribe, and you turn on your notifications and you're sharing. So I'll see you next Sunday. Bye.